Hey everybody, it's Eric Pappenfuss. It's Friday, so it must be a buy day. And today, Amanda, we're doing a new series, which is Eric's favorite spaces at the Scholar. And I'm going to take you to a few spots in the bookstore this week and over the next couple weeks, which I love and which I think you'll love if you've never had a chance to visit yet at the Midtown Scholar. Mm-hmm. Now, we are currently on the gallery, so if, Amanda, you pan that way, you'll know that we are above the entrance. We're looking down at the bell. Someday I'll talk more about the bell.
There's all the
on
carts.
the main floor. And we are after hours today, so there's nobody in the store, but that allows us to tape. Now, one of the things I like about the gallery is that we have all of our modern fiction alphabetized, and it goes down the aisles, boom, boom, boom. Quite nice. And we have a little specialty area here for slip-cased books, you know, the Heritage Press books, the Folio Society books. They're all at a flat rate, usually, you know, $10 a piece if you buy two. We also have playwrights, literary criticism, and science fiction. And we're going to say my favorite space on the floor is the Sci-Fi Nook. So we're going to go this way past some of the cases where you can see vintage signed books. And Amanda, you can sort of show a pretty impressive selection of sci-fi that goes all along the wall, all the way into the back wall, and goes all the way down to the front. Now, two more quick things. One of the neat things about this floor is that you can, if you haven't done this yet, go outside and see the Scholar in relationship to the Capitol. So come on, we got to do that. We're going to look out the front door, and you can see that we're really just a long toss away from the Capitol building there. During the summer, when the weather's nice, you're welcome to come out and sit here and read a book. The other interesting thing about being up here in what we call the gallery is because when we first opened Amanda, which is now over 15 years ago in this space, we did have an art gallery up here, and we've slowly filled it more with books. But this was also the projection room for the old movie theater. So when this building was a theater, the projectionist was up here and looked out over the main floor, which is pretty cool, which sloped all the way to the back. Yeah. And the movie theater wall was all the way back where art is today. Okay, so here we are in one of my favorite places to get lost. I hope you'll come up here and get lost as well. And we're going to talk a little bit about vintage sci-fi. Sound good?
Yeah.
We've had a couple things come into the bookstore just recently, and I thought I'd take the occasion to not only show you the books, and I have 3 of them, but also take you upstairs. So I have 3 vintage sci-fi classics, all of which are going to go up here in the cases. And I think you should take a look at them. The first one is by an American author, and I picked it because, boy, is that not the best cover?
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's The Moon Medal. And this is a story, let's open it up to the title page, published in 1900, Amanda, about how, well, we discover a precious metal on the moon, the Moon Medal. And what do we do as a country and as a nation? We mine the moon. And we mine the moon, unfortunately, to the very end. But the looting of the moon brought disaster to the robber planet. So mad were the efforts to get the precious metal that the surface of our globe was fairly showered with it. Productive fields were in some cases almost smothered under a metallic coating. The air was filled with shining dust until finally famine and pestilence joins hands with financial disaster to punish the grasping world. So not the happiest ending for the Moon Medal, but it is an adventure story about how we get to the moon and we mine the moon for precious metals. And it has that wonderful vintage cover design. Moon Medal. All right. The second book I have is, I have to say, a pretty cool book. And it is by a Canadian author called A Strange Manuscript Found in a Copper Cylinder. And this is one of the first books about discovery of a lost world. So what happens is, you know, the sailor's out on his adventures. He puts his story in a copper cylinder. Oh, let's go to the title page first. Oh, here we go. Oh, Strange. Isn't that a good title, by the way? It's a little reminiscent of Edgar Allan Poe, who wrote some stories like that. It was actually published posthumously after the author had passed away and has these wonderful illustrations in it. At any rate, The story is they come across the copper cylinder. There's the cylinder. It tells the story of the adventures of this person in another world, Amanda, in a world that is prehistoric. So it's before the Lost World, it's before King Solomon's Mines, it's before a variety of other types of stories, but it's a genre in and of itself. And they go back, and of all places, Antarctica, and through a volcanic tunnel, what do they discover? They discover prehistoric beasts.
Whoa.
And a prehistoric civilization, and all sorts of interesting, amazing things. But a great story. This was originally serialized in Harper's Magazine. So, an example of early serialized science fiction that started that whole genre of the Lost World.
Pretty neat.
All right. We've got a third book, and it's hard to say. It's a tough call, but this one also just came in, and I think I like the design for this book as much as anything else we have. Now, this is called The Living Mummy, and this represents that period of time. I believe it was published, let's see, in 1910, but it's basically that period of time right before Howard Carter discovered King Tut's tomb, and when basically Egyptology is all the rage. And if you watch By Day, you know one of my favorite Egyptologists is E. Wallace Budge, and we've had some of his books on By Day. Can't keep them in stock. They always sell, but this is an example of somebody who's taken examples of Budge's historical work for the British Museum and in fact turned it into sci-fi. And this reminds you of all the great sci-fi adventures. So basically, the mummy lives. What I also like about the book is it has these wonderful artistic illustrations by an American artist who was also famous for his World War I propaganda. So can you sort of see how that could turn into a World War I?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, you can, right? And it's really neat. So let's give you a little flavor of this book by showing you some of the illustrations. I swear by the King of heaven and of earth. Here are some more of these great illustrations. 3 paces off, a man's face glowered at us. This is pretty good. This is, before King Tut. But post our mummy unwrappings that we've discussed, and here they are examining the mummy. I felt his pulse. Ooh. And guess what? The mummy comes back to life. But isn't that great Egyptian revival style? Yeah. And one more, just so you have the full sense of it. Here we are nearing the end. A black, pain-tortured face hovering in midair. That looks pretty scary. The Living Mummy. And another one with a great cover, and I think a whole cover design and cover art is something which is no longer as appreciated today as it used to be then. So these are some of my favorite ones. When you come to the sci-fi floor, you can see like the Easton Classics of sci-fi, or you can get first editions of Robert Jordan or of Arthur C. Clarke or of the Dune series, all those types of books. But if you want some vintage sci-fi to see how it all started over 100 years ago, well, you have to come to the Scholar too, and you can get books like this. Okay, we're going to end with a funny book.
Great.
And technically, you should already be able to know what this book is, Amanda, because, well, it's called Helping Yourself with ESP. And I just thought it was appropriate because this book, by the way, is written by a gentleman whose Wikipedia page he is described as both an accountant and a parapsychologist. So, you get a little bit of both, which is exciting. And it is basically a book about, it's very self-serving because it is all about using ESP to get rich.
Yeah, sure.
Okay? Everyone dreams of riches, fame, power, and love. Some people's dreams burst into reality as if brought to fruition in another dimension, while others come to naught. The fulfillment of your hopes and dreams is not a matter of chance. Success is in any undertaking a result of the proper use of natural law. And with ESP, you too can become wealthy. And points to remember. Here, I'll let you zoom in on the points to remember. I enjoy this. I particularly like number 2. Can you read that?
Love of money is a good emotion.
Yes. So what's amazing is that the institute that this gentleman founded is still around today. Parapsychology is sort of a pseudoscience. Well, you can leave your comments if you disagree in the book. But this is a book about how to help yourself make money with ESP. And you can use that money to come here to the Sci-Fi Room of the Scholar and buy some incredible science fiction. So a book that serves its purpose. Well, thanks for watching our new series. Did you enjoy it? I did. I'm going to take you next week to another part of the Scholar, which is one of my favorite places that maybe you've never been to, much different than the Sci-Fi Nook. But I'll see you then. And until next week, thanks for watching. And watch again Fridays at noon for more adventures in the world of books.